Have you filled out the census yet? It is so important to do that for our state and for you to do it as quickly as possible. It literally takes 5 minutes or less, and it really does a world of good for our state. Here today to talk about just how important it is, we're lucky to have the Lieutenant Governor of North Dakota, Brent Sanford. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Lisa. It's my pleasure. How are you today?
I am great. Well, I'm very excited to visit with you, and I want to start just with the basics before we get into how people are doing so far with getting it filled out. In your mind, what is the purpose of the census? Why is it so important to North Dakota?
I want to make sure every person is counted, every living person in our state as of April 1st, every person living here. And it's very important because federal funding is oftentimes doled out based on population, and it's federal funding based on highways, health and human services, etc. The CARES Act monies that are coming in now, a lot of it is determined based on that. Besides that, congressional districts, etc. It's very important for the entire nation, but particularly important for us. And it amounts to around $19,000 per person that comes our way from federal funding over this time period. And so if you don't count individuals, it really adds up. And personally, I have my own story in Watford City in 2010 when the oil boom was really taking off. The census was taking off and the folks were coming in at the same time. And we estimate, the Census Bureau actually estimates that we undercounted by 6,000 people in 2010. That amounts to over $100 million over a 10-year period of federal funding that didn't come to North Dakota. So I can tell you from a personal standpoint that it's very important for our state, very important for our communities that we count everyone.
That is huge. And I like when you put a dollar figure, because a lot of people are like, I'm one person, what does it matter? But it does matter. And when you think about a whole household as well, it really does add up. So have you been tracking the numbers? How are we looking so far here in North Dakota for the response rate?
Not so bad. We're right in the middle. We're 25th. We're a little bit less of a response rate than Minnesota, a little bit better than Montana. So we're, tracking okay. We'd like to be better. The governor obviously would rather have us be top 10, like in most things. And so we'd like to be excelling in this like we do in so many other areas. And the eastern part of the state is doing a very good job getting those forms back. The western part of the state, we're really looking at those numbers and seeing a little bit of concern in the oil producing areas in Stark, Williams, McKenzie County. We need a little bit more response. And it's important that people realize that it's where they were residing April 1st. And they might have had job fluctuations. They might be actually furloughing in another state, etc. But it's where you live, where you reside. That's where you need to be counted. And that was as of April 1st. So it's very important that the forms from all these households in the entire state get filled out.
I feel like you kind of threw a challenge out there. We want to compete. We want to, have some bragging rights here. But so what can we do to help encourage our neighbors, our fellow North Dakotans to fill it out if they haven't yet?
Well, really, it's a little peer pressure. It is asking friends, asking neighbors, have you filled out your form? And the fact of the matter is, in August, Census Bureau workers will be knocking on doors if they haven't received forms, and they will actually be asking their neighbors about your own household if they don't hear from you. So the Census Bureau will start to be more assertive and get a little more proactive as time goes on. And they really need to have the forms returned from the living, the apartments, the houses, all the housing units that they've identified. They really try to get 100% of those forms back. They want to count everyone. It really benefits all of us.
I did mine months ago. It was so easy. But if people at home are thinking, oh, I don't know if I have time, what do you tell them?
It takes like 5 minutes, and I'm going to look at my paper here. Excuse me. My2020census.gov is the website, my2020census.gov, and it's super easy. It takes about 5 minutes to do. And you can also answer by phone, 844-330-2020, 844-330-2020. It's very easy to do and very important for all of us.
Lieutenant Governor of North Dakota, Brent Sanford, thank you so much for joining us with this important message.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate the opportunity.
We'll be right back here on North Dakota Today.
Get 10